Hey everybody, RJ here. Hope everybody's having a good day. Today's topic is about time management. We're going to talk about ways to manage your time, ways I personally manage my time, and how it ties into having that one-on-one focus. With Asperger's, there's a lot of things with only focusing on one task at a time. We're going to go into depth about that. So let's get right into today's video. Hey everybody, hope everybody had a good week. Alright, so today's topic is all about time management. So we have a PowerPoint that we're going to go over here again. If you guys like these PowerPoints, give me a like or a comment and I'll keep doing them. This helps me kind of show you guys some examples of different topics and ways I can help talk to you guys about it in ways that are more lucid to you. So let's get into the PowerPoint here. So time management ways that I utilize it day by day and skills for managing my time. Alright, so here is the baseline. So this is basically telling you guys what time management is and some examples of using time management. So it is the process of effectively using time for whatever you're doing, whether that's taking a test or getting your goals done for the day or your tasks done for the day. And things that happen in your day-to-day life that you're trying to do. This could be things like working on a project, assigning roles for a project, or a fundraiser, or something like that. Creating a work schedule. Let's say you're creating a schedule for work, so they're going to work this many hours this day, this many hours that day, what time they can do it in, that fit their life schedule as well. And we're also going to talk more about personal goals and tasks that I have every day as well. Here's a little thing for you guys to kind of learn about that I didn't know until a few days ago. There is no such thing as time management. Why? It's because time management in itself is managing time. But who's managing that time? Time can't manage itself. Time can't say to itself, okay, hey, we need to do this day, that day. So managing time is more of a concept than time management. Only you can manage that time and do whatever you want to do with that time. But time itself does not change. It never ends. It's infinity. So that's what we mean by time management. So yeah, we're going to talk about time management, ways that I manage it, some methods that I manage it with, and kind of give you guys a little insight on what I do every day with that. Okay, so here's some examples, some tasks that I'm working on and how I time them out each day. The first task we have is my drawing. So I don't do drawing every day, but I try to pace my time between 45 minutes and an hour and a half. It can be different for each person. So let's say you're working on a big art commission, and it's going to take you weeks and weeks to do. Maybe it'll be a shorter amount of time, or maybe it'll be a longer amount of time with the breaks. Because a lot of people will draw all day, but they'll take like an hour or two blocks of breaks. And that's fine, just as long as you're finding something that fits your schedule and fits your needs for that day. The second thing I do a lot is exercise. Usually I do it for around an hour or under. Lately, because of my breathing, because I have a lot of breathing issues, I can only do it for about an hour and under. Also, because I lost so much weight, it's hard for me to kind of keep up with the endurance like I used to, because when I was about 106, 170 pounds, I used to stay out there for hours. Now I can only do it for about an hour under, depending on what the weather is, different factors like that. The downsides was, obviously, in the past, I would exercise way too much. I would be out there for a long time. I wouldn't come in until the sun went down. I would get very tired easily, very restless. Some nights just wanting to go out there and do something. I just had this obsession with just going outside. And that plays in with my Asperger's as well. Because remember, Asperger's, one of the biggest symptoms is limited interest in activities and a focus on one activity. So exercise was the one thing that was running through my mind for months. We're also going to talk about why it is vital, guys, to take breaks when exercising or doing anything time consuming. Believe it or not, if you take most of your time taking breaks from your activities rather than doing them all day and stress yourself out, you will be a lot happier and a lot more productive with that time you have. It depends on the activity. Obviously, if it's a test, you don't know some questions, you can, think about what the answer is. But it really just depends on what you're doing, what leisure, what hobby you're into. Obviously, with the drawing, I have a big space of time I could take to kind of break from that and kind of just have a time where I'm like, okay, what should I draw next? What's my next move? So that's the thing, guys. If you're taking time out of your day to take breaks from whatever you're doing that's either time consuming or something you don't want to do, that is amazing to do. It's always healthy for your mind and for your body to take breaks. Another thing I do is reading. I do it for about maybe 15, 20 minutes. Maybe I'll read less than 30 pages, 25. I put 20 to 25 as like a baseline. But I know a lot of people that read for hours. So it really just depends on a few things: your schedule, what distractions you have, and also just how your life is that day, what things happen. So there's a lot of factors that go into what hobbies you do with your time. Another thing I'm doing is writing my book. Now that's going to be taking a few months, I believe. I'm already on the fourth section. There's 12 sections of the book. So there's a lot of things I still need to write about, and I don't want to overdo it. Because if I do, there's something here called a writer's block. A writer's block, as a lot of you know, is a period of time where you cannot write anything. You don't know what to write. You're stuck. You're in this trance where you're not knowing what to do. Your brain's like, I want to get off of this. I don't know what to do with this. And you're more unmotivated to doing your book or whatever you're creating. So that's what writer's block is. And there's a difference between overdoing things and procrastinating from things. As we talked about before, there's a thin line between overdoing and procrastination, and that's slow, gradual success. So if you're taking your time in a slow, moderate, healthy pace, you're not going to get bored of a lot of things you're spending too much time on. You're not going to get bored of the tasks you love. It also depends on how frequent you do it. That's another big factor. If you're doing something a lot but short amount of time, it's going to give you a lot of headache. It's going to give you a lot of boredom with that activity. And that's another issue I've had is I've done things a lot, maybe for a short period of time. So how much you do it, how hard you do it, and how long you do it. Those are three big factors. Especially with exercise, my frequency used to be way up and my intensity used to be way moderate. And my time used to be way up. So I didn't have a good balance. As long as you have a good balance between frequency, intensity, and time, you're good to go whatever you're doing. So here are some skills for time management. We talked a little bit last week about timers. Let's say you're working on a group project, or you're working on a drawing or a commission, or you're going to work and you have to set a timer for taking a break. You can set timers for breaks. By the way, guys, it's always a good thing to take breaks. But setting timers are very vital, especially if you're trying to manage your time better, if you're trying to do things at a slower pace. So setting something in like a 45-minute timer to work out, or an hour timer to get something done that day. It just depends on what you're doing. For me, if I were to do a timer, let's say on working out, let's say I'm going to the gym, an hour, hour and a half, just depending on your body type, depending on how long you can do it, your endurance, like I said, the frequency, all that stuff. So it really just depends on your body and your life. It all is depending on what you're doing and how long you can do it. Another thing I would really recommend for you guys is to remove unnecessary tasks or projects in your life. Let's say you were working on something months ago or weeks ago and you no longer are interested in that, or you no longer think it's going to get you to a better place in the future or a more productive place. Stop doing it. Don't meander on that one task that you think you can't do. And, if you're worried about not getting it done, take a break. But if it's something you feel like you're not going to get back into, stop doing it. Get rid of the task. Eliminate it from your life. Another big thing is setting realistic goals. So a lot of people will set goals for a certain amount of time, and a lot of the times those goals are the goals that they can't complete, goals that are unrealistic. And we talked about that in the goals video. So if you have a time schedule, or if you have a time block, let's say from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock, you work on a certain project, and you work on that every day or every other day, and it gets you to a bigger goal in the future, a long-term goal, and you're spending your time doing it, it's something that's time consuming but you think it's worth it, that is a realistic goal. If it's unrealistic, if it's wasting your time with your family or wasting your time with your friends or important things in your life, get rid of it. Another thing is eliminating distractions. So I firsthand know a lot about this. Let's say I'm taking an hour to draw, or I'm doing a Zoom call, or whatever that takes a lot of time out of me. The distractions I'll have personally is my phone will ring, or it'll get a text, or somebody in the background will call my name, or there'll be a fight going on. And there's some things you can control that are distractions, things that you cannot control. The phone thing is something you can control because you can always turn off your ringer, you can always mute your phone. Things you can't control is family. You know, if there's family or friends fighting in the background, you have nothing to do with that. You know, if you're taking your time to do something and that happens, you know, you have basically a decision to A, keep working on it and ignore it, or B, deal with that. For me, I've been trying to deal with what I'm doing now, but if I get called or if something happens that is distracting me, I try to find ways to stop that distraction. And what I need to be doing is, you know, continue working on it, maybe put some headphones on, kind of block out the noise. But if it's something like someone calling me, obviously if it's important, I'll go and see what they need. But if it's something that's not important, that's not, you know, worth that time right now for me, I'm going to ignore it and keep doing what I'm doing that's more important at that time. Prioritization. So simple as writing down a list of things you do that day or a list of reminders and putting maybe a red mark for the ones that are important, yellow for moderate, and blue for low, or just sorting out a list of what tasks or what time-consuming tasks are more important to you that you need to get done that day. That's very important for time management because we only have 24 hours in a day, guys. And during that 24 hours, there's a lot of things we have to get done during the day. So let's say you have a doctor's appointment. That's going to take 2 hours out of your day. You would write that in red or write that with check mark or something that you say, hey, that's high priority. I have to get that done today. So doing something as simple as a prioritization list, or on your actual, if you have an iPhone and maybe an Android, there is a setting on your reminders app that you can set things for high prioritization or medium or low. So that's another great way to set reminders for whatever you're doing that day. Then there's something that's called the 80-20 principle. The 80-20 principle is you, yourself, putting in 20% of work, 20% of effort in whatever you're doing, whatever task that is, whatever activity you're doing during a certain time period. The 80% is the effect that happens. The other half of that is if you're taking a little bit of time to do what you like instead of a bunch of time of something that's not important, you're doing something right. You're doing something that's important in a low amount of time or a small period that you think is important. It's something small day by day instead of something huge every day that's going to stress you out. It's going to make you tired. It's going to make you exhausted. So that's what, in layman's terms, the 80-20 principle says, is that 20% of the time you're doing something for you or for your family or something for personal growth. And the 80% is all the effects that come in afterward, all the success that you see after that time that you spent on a certain project or a certain thing you wanted to do during the day. So that's something that I would really recommend for you guys for time management is, you know, putting in a little bit of work for something you love to do every day rather than doing something huge for a long amount of time that's going to stress you out. Alright, so this is basically a little summary of what we just talked about. A couple of things I want to point out to you guys. The first big thing is always healthy to take breaks. If you feel like you're tired, if you feel like you need to get something to eat, if you feel like you don't want to sit there for hours at a time, you know, if you can, get up, say, hey, I need to go to the bathroom, or hey, I need to go get some water, and take that well-needed break. Everybody, no matter who you are, you deserve a break. The second thing is, you know, when you're doing any of these skills I've just talked about, make sure you do not set limits on them. What I mean by that is that if you feel like, you know, you can't do enough, or you feel like you're never going to get it done, and you feel like you're not going to be able to meet that end that you're needing to, don't say it to yourself. Don't say, hey, I'm never going to finish this, or hey, I'm never going to do this in time. Take the time, you know, work hard. Say to yourself, hey, I could do this, you know, if I just take my time, slow down, do this in the time period it needs to be done, and not worry about it, I will be good. Because that's what a lot of people do. When they take these exams and then when they take these tests, they often stress about the test and the questions more than they do the actual test. And a lot of people, I believe, more likely stress about the exam than complete. And I understand that. So just taking that time to say to yourself, okay, I can do this. Take my time. I'm sure if I don't get it done in time, for some reason, they'll give me another block of time to do it. And just say to yourself, okay, I can get this done as long as I put my mind to it. Don't let anything distract me, and say there's no limits to how much work I can do. The only limit I see, guys, is maybe you have a limit for how long you can get the exam done. But those limits, yes, they may be the end, but if you tried your hardest and you said to yourself, hey, I may have not got it done in that period of time, but my heart and my mind had no limit. I did it at the pace I could do it. And that is amazing. Let's say you didn't do so well on the test, but you feel like in your heart you could do better. Do better next time. But as long as in your mind you thought the time you had granted to you, you did well at that time, and you did well in the end, that's all that matters. And never be afraid to do a different task when you need to. You feel like there's a task you feel like you cannot do, or a task you feel like you are not in the right state of mind to do, move on to something else. But have a peaceful transition to that next task. Take a break before the next task, or get something to drink, or get something to eat, and make sure when you're doing your next task, you're prepared for it. Whatever you need to do to transition peacefully to that next task, or the next class you're going to. So, when you're going to your next class, or you're doing your next task, say to yourself, okay, what do I need to get done before my next class? Do I need to go to the bathroom? Do I need to go get something to eat? Because a lot of people work on tasks for hours, and they'll forget to eat. And that's something I've done in the past as well. So make sure, when you're doing a transition to one task to the other, you have a list, or you have a plan set before you do that next task. That may be a longer task or shorter. And then the last thing is make the most out of the time. Don't say to yourself, I'm not going to be able to do this in this amount of time. Or don't say to yourself, I'm not going to be able to achieve this. Never say it to yourself. If you have a time period that you could do whatever you want, and do whatever you need to do that day, do it. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to not get it done. Because all failure is, guys, is a chance to redeem yourself. A chance to take that next time, that next hour, and do better. Don't set yourself any limits on how well you can do in a period of time. I want to make a quick shout out to all my friends and family that inspired me to do this video. I love you guys. My mom, dad, sisters, brothers, all my friends. Thibaut Maurice is a great author. He does several types of books on motivation, success. If you'd like to check him out, I'm going to put his link to his Amazon below so you can check out some of the books he makes. So there you go, guys. Thank you so much. I hope everybody has a great day, and we'll see you next week. Take care.